What's up fam? What is up beautiful people? This week we are talking about those interactions or conversations that we assume will be either awkward, confrontational, or just plain hard to have. Let's get it. So let's be real. Most of us at some point in our lives have avoided something like this. And no matter what reason we come up with, it usually boils down to the fear of not getting the desired outcome, being uncomfortable, or being disliked. When we avoid these conversations, when we allow a problem to fester by resisting taking the action necessary to actually resolve it, we either try to rationalize it by telling ourselves that we don't actually need that sort of stress in our lives, the stress that we assume that conversation will bring, or we just ignore it, acting as if it isn't there, because that thought of being disliked or uncomfortable creates a fear of rejection and a feeling of being unsafe. Now, the problem with either of those approaches is that yes, we may not have to face that particular problem or challenge in the present, saving us from that stress that we assume will come as a result. But what actually ends up happening through avoidance is the creation of more anxiety, worrying about when, where, and how that situation or that conversation will inevitably eventuate. Because if it is an issue, if it is a problem, even if you're not willing to step up and take action and resolve it, someone else will. Now, I'm saying this because it's a lesson that I've learned recently. I had a problem at my workplace, so I raised the issue and scheduled a meeting in to resolve it. Easy. Well, not quite. The day that I was supposed to have that meeting to resolve it, I ended up calling in sick. And no, it wasn't a fakie, no, I wasn't pulling a sickie. I was genuinely sick. But from that point on, after having missed it and knowing that I let them down, I did everything in my power to avoid it. All because I was just so caught up, so worried about what they thought of me for missing that first one. And then on the tail end of that, being disliked for it. So a few weeks later and a few missed meetings later, me doing all I could to avoid it, I ended up becoming so consumed by worry that I had to take a stress day because I was on the verge of a breakdown. Now, long story short, I ended up having that meeting and it went okay. Yes, they were disappointed, but by the end of it, I was questioning why the hell I was even worried in the first place. And that's usually what happens when you tackle these situations. Well, what I've come to understand about that situation is that the more I avoided it, the more I actually had to excuse myself for, and thus the more I felt guilty for avoiding it and letting them down, which just meant that I wanted to hide in my shell even more and ignore it even more. So you can see how eventually it just became this perpetual production of stress, worry, and anxiety, which ironically enough, wait for it, all could have been avoided by avoiding avoidance. Yeah, you figured that one out. So, if you're in this position, or if you find yourself in this position in the future, tossing up whether to take this tough conversation or interaction on head on, please learn from my mistakes and be like Nike. Just do it, knowing that you're likely assuming too much, knowing you'll spare yourself further avoidance and in turn spare yourself unnecessary anxiety and guilt. Hashtag avoid avoidance. If you haven't seen it already, guys, I want to let you know that there is a free 4-day mindfulness mini course that is designed to stack one habit on top of the other to give you the perfect morning routine to kickstart your day, to ensure that you improve the quality of your life by improving the way that you interact with the world, interact with the people that you love, but most importantly, improve the way that you interact with yourself. It should take about 20 minutes of your morning in total as soon as you open those eyes. And if you commit to it, if you commit to yourself, if you put your mental health first, the quality of your life first, this will make a profound and lasting impact on your life. That's it from me, guys. If you want to leave any feedback, drop a comment below, and I love you all. Ciao.